All right, let's continue. So you did a grouping symbols review, right? You took notes. You did your 3 practice problems, 3, 4, 5, right? And now we're going to get into the full order of operations. Okay, you can underline or whatever, right? If you have color and you want to like highlight this or, right, whatever's going to make your notes work for you is fine. But here's the order of operations. We take care of grouping symbols first, always, no matter what. Okay, anything that's inside grouping symbols we do first. Okay, now a lot of times you've learned order of operations and you've learned PEMDAS with parentheses first. Yeah, you can remember it that way, that's fine. Grouping symbols also includes, right, the brackets and the fraction bar, so it's just kind of nice. Like I like to use this term so that we don't forget about those other 2 options. After you deal with grouping symbols, you deal with exponents. Okay, next, you do multiplication and division. And you do these from left to right. So let's say in a particular problem you have multiplication and division. You just start at the left and you go to the right. And then next is addition and subtraction. And again, this goes from left to right. Okay, so if you have addition and subtraction in the same problem, you start on the left. Okay, so let's take a look at some examples. Here's our first example. Okay, it's 5 plus 4 squared, 4 to the 2nd power, in parentheses, divided by 7 times 3, right? This dot means multiplication. Okay, what do I do first? Well, I do what's inside the grouping symbols first. Now, I notice, I look, I see, where are my grouping symbols? Oh, I have some parentheses here. So I'm going to do what's inside the parentheses first. That means I'm going to ignore the rest of the problem and only do what's inside the parentheses. So once I'm inside the parentheses, I still have to follow the rest of the order of operations. So I see, okay, well, do I have any exponents? I do. I have an exponent right here. So this 4 squared, that comes first. Remember, 4 squared means 4 times 4. So that becomes 16. And notice what I'm going to do is I'm going to just bring down everything else. And as you get comfortable with this, you'll kind of maybe be able to take shortcuts, do 2 steps at once. That's okay. But for right now, for the examples, I do want you to write down every step. So as you reference them, you're not missing information. Okay, now, I still haven't simplified everything inside the grouping symbols, right? So there's still a grouping symbol left, so I still need to focus on this. 5 plus 16 is 21. And now, notice I don't need to write the parentheses. I've already simplified everything that's inside them, so I don't need to write them. Okay, now, what do I have left? What operations do I have? Well, I have division, and I have multiplication. Now, what I need to remember is that it happens from left to right, right? Sometimes students make a mistake, think, oh, I have to do the multiplication first because it's PEMDAS, where the M comes first. No, we do multiplication at the same time, left to right. So in this case, and left to right is the same direction as I read. The division's on the left, so I'm going to do that first. So 21 divided by 7 is 3. Right, so I just did this. 21 divided by 7 is 3. I'm going to bring down this times 3. 3 times 3 is 9. Okay, so that's our first example. Here's another one. What do we do here? Do we have any grouping symbols, right? What you kind of do is you always say, like, okay, do I have grouping symbols? And if you do, you start with that. Do you have exponents? If you do, you start with that. Okay, so I do have grouping symbols because I have a fraction bar. So 43 minus 1 is 42, and 4 plus 2 is 6. So I simplified, right? The grouping symbols is kind of like you can almost imagine there's parentheses here. So I did that. I'm going to bring this down. Now, what operations do I have left? Well, what I have left is I have division and addition. What comes first, division or addition? Well, multiplication and division comes before addition and subtraction. So I'm going to do the division first. 42 divided by 6 is 7, and I'm going to bring down this plus 6, and I get 13. Okay. Finally, I'm going to show you one super long example, and what I want you to see is just that when something is long, it's just really a matter of just keeping track of all the pieces, going in order, being neat, okay? So this is going to be super long, but it's not really harder than anything you've done. It's just a matter of keeping track of each piece, kind of being patient and continuing to, write down each piece as you go. Okay. I look for grouping symbols first, and I actually have 3 sets of grouping symbols here. I have a fraction bar right here, that's a grouping symbol. I have brackets and I have parentheses. So we're going to tackle them, right? Now, within this brackets, I have parentheses. I do the inner group first. So I'm actually going to tackle these parentheses first. So 7 minus 5 is 2. And notice what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring down everything else that's in that bracket, right? Including, don't forget, there's an exponent right here. Okay, now at the same time, I'm going to go ahead and tackle the bottom of this fraction, right? Let's save myself in a step. 5 minus 1 is 4. Okay, you always have to ask yourself, you start at the top of the list, do I have grouping symbols? Yeah, I still do, right? So let's go ahead and do this, and in fact, watch, I'm going to skip a step here, okay? Because inside this grouping symbol, I have multiplication and I have addition. What comes first? Well, multiplication comes first, right? Because this is multiplication. So this is 3 times 2. That's 6, right? This becomes 2 plus 6. And watch, see, I'm writing it small because I'm going to cheat and not rewrite this whole step because it's annoying, right? And now this is everything that was inside the brackets, right? This is 2 plus 6, and it becomes 8. I don't need to write the brackets anymore. That was there to group everything together, but now I've already simplified it. What I do need to remember is this exponent. So this is 8 squared plus 8 over 4 minus 1. Okay, now, do I have grouping symbols? I do have a fraction bar, but that fraction bar, there's not like an expression on top or bottom, there's just a number. So that fraction bar just means division right now, right? It's not really a grouping symbol. So do I have exponents? I do have exponents. I have 8 to the 2nd power. That means 8 times 8, so I'm going to do it. And I'm also going to cheat a little bit. I'm going to do 2 steps at once because this is division, right? I have exponents, so I did that. I have addition, division, and subtraction left. I know that division will come before that addition and subtraction, so I'm going to just go ahead and do it in this step. 8 divided by 4 is 2, and then I'm going to bring down this minus 1. Okay, so now what do I have left? I have addition and subtraction from left to right. Okay, so I'm going to do this addition first is 66 minus 1, and my answer here is 65. Okay, now what you notice is I'm out of space on my page, so watch what I'm going to do. I'm taking notes. I'm going to go back to my table of contents. Okay, now I'm going to keep up with you, and I'm going to have the same table of contents as you. So I want you to do this, even if your page is bigger and you don't need to, I want you to go ahead and do this. Right? We're going to use page 5 and 6 for order of operations. Between all the notes and the practice problems, you're going to need that extra space. So now you're going to come back to order of operations, right? And you might need to turn the page, or maybe you have a bigger page than me. Either way, you're going to put your practice problems that you're about to do in Edge Elastic right below these notes. If you need to turn the page and do it on the next page, that's fine.